So we meet each other and take reassurance that this guy must be knowing the way, but the other guy is equally lost as you are. If you want to bring your life to a meaningful destination, you have to learn to control your heart with the head. So you don't allow the mind to be attached, your emotions to rule. Rather, with your head you decide. Here, no attachments. Here, full attachments. See, God has the control in His hands. You can do whatever ghapar shapar you wish. He will bestow the next destination. It's not in your hands. Once, the person in front of me at the airline counter, he lost his cool and he started shouting at the airline clerk, telling him all kinds of things. Your airline is nonsense and this and that. Now, he is not responsible for the functioning of his airlines, but in his anger, he was just venting at the clerk, and the clerk was very politely saying, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So, after the customer went, I was impressed and I told the airline clerk that you are, this is what our Bhagavad Gita says is sthita pragya. That man, he vented out at you and you retained your cool so completely. How did you do it, man? How did you do it, bro? I'm getting a little Americanized. So he said, it's not a problem. He's going to New York and I'm sending his luggage to Cancun. So you can do whatever you like. Ultimately, God will give you the final destination. So God says, look, the destination will be determined by where your mind is attached. If you worship the celestials, that is where you will go. If you worship human beings, you will come back right here. If you worship ghosts and spirits. Now, people who come for the retreat are sattvic people, but a whole segment of humankind worships ghosts and spirits. In the Western world, it's very common as witchcraft. In Africa, there's black magic. In India, there's tantra. You go to the tribal regions, they're doing so much of it. So ghosts and spirits are also being worshipped. People who do that shall attain such beings in their next life. So if you wish to reach the supreme destination, attach your mind to the Supreme and His representative, the Guru. Otherwise, it is a lost world. A lost world. One hiker, he lost his way in the forest. Now when you go in the forest, you lose your bearing completely. Because there is no landmark remaining. Every tree and every place is like the rest. And it can be very confusing. So this hiker was lost for 7 days. And after 7 days, he met another hiker. And I said, oh my God, thank God, I finally found someone. I am so delighted. I was completely lost, now I am no longer feeling lost. So the other hiker said, don't feel so happy on meeting me because I have also been lost for 5 days. But now on meeting you, I am not feeling so lost. In fact, I am feeling that I am secure. So we meet each other and take reassurance that this guy must be knowing the way, but the other guy is equally lost as you are. Now you say, okay, I'm going to worship so-and-so, going to worship so-and-so. That person doesn't know the path. So we need the proper guidance. And in this verse, Sri Krishna has made it very clear. Wherever you attach your mind, whomever you worship, that is what you shall attain. The entire waterworks system is based on reservoirs. And from the reservoir, the water comes into the pipes and then reaches the water taps in people's houses. There's only a little catch to it. The water can rise only to the height of the reservoir and not beyond. It's a simple principle of physics. If you've made the reservoir at 300 feet height on top of a hill, then you can bring the water up to those high-storied buildings. Nowadays, they have found a way of circumventing. They've created high-pressure reservoirs. But that pressure is important. Likewise, if you worship the celestial devatas, you will only go till their abodes and not beyond. And if you wish to go beyond, then you need to attach your mind to the Supreme. Sri Krishna has expressed earlier on in the 8th chapter, wherever your mind is attached at the time of death, that is what will determine your next destination. Now, where is people's mind attached? One taxi driver wrote a book, New York Taxi Driver. He wrote his experiences of driving the taxi for so many decades. And he related one heart-touching experience. He writes there that it was now night and I decided this will be my last trip. I had been called and I reached the door and knocked. An old lady's voice came, just, I'll be a minute, can you please wait? And then she seemed to be dragging herself and opened the door. And he found a 90-year-old lady all by herself. And she said, my son, can you please help me with the luggage? So the driver said, definitely, ma'am. And he helped lug the luggage and loaded in the car, and she kept on thanking him profusely for being such a kind person. And she sat down in the back seat and gave the destination and said, can you please take the taxi through the downtown? He said, it will be out of the way. She told him, I am not in a hurry. I am going to the hospice. This is going to be my last drive. The doctor has said that I don't have many days to live. So the taxi driver saw her through the windscreen and realized that this was a poignant moment. So he just kept on obeying. And when they went to one place, she would say, okay, please stop the taxi here. Sometimes she would share her memories. She would share that this shop was earlier a ballroom floor and I used to dance here as a teenager. And then they stopped in another place and she said, this is the area where myself and my husband lived when we were newlyweds. And then she would go in another place and say, I used to work in the restaurant here for some time. And this continued until it was almost dawn. And then she said to the driver, I am tired now, let's go back. And he took her to the hospice. There, the attendants seemed to be ready for her. The moment she arrived, they rushed with the wheelchair. They got her onto the wheelchair. She asked the driver, how much is the fare? And the driver said, nothing. She said, but you need to live. He said, there are other passengers, not from you. And she said, thank you, you've got a kind heart. The attendants took her into the building and closed the door. And he realized that life was coming to an end. But my takeaway from this story was this lady, in her last moments, was remembering all the material attachments. That is where her mind was stuck. Now, of course, it is very touching, but it doesn't serve the divine purpose. If you want to bring your life to a meaningful destination, you have to learn to control your heart with the head. So you don't allow the mind to be attached, your emotions to rule. Rather, with your head you decide. Here, no attachments. Here, full attachments. The attachment is the important thing. The mind is clinging. Where it clings will make all the difference. So the clinging is what is keeping us in this world. You know how the monkeys are trapped, right? It's very interesting. The hunter takes a thin, narrow neck bottle and sticks it in the ground with some peanuts in it. And the monkey comes around and smells the peanuts, sees them, and discovers there's good fodder here. It puts its hand straight into the bottle, grabs the peanuts, and once it has formed the fist, the hand is not able to come out now. The monkey thinks it is caught. And it screams, she, but it doesn't release the peanuts. Now you say for peanuts, it's doing that. But the monkey brain doesn't realize. And the hunter is around, comes and knocks it on the head. All it needed to do was to release the object of its attachment. So all of us have this little monkey in our head as well, that is holding on to the peanuts and preventing us from greater things that are available in this realm of God if we are just willing to forsake those lower attachments.